You only advocated for the genocide at the beginning, but now that the policy is coming due, you're getting off the sunken ship because there's like babies starving and stuff. So you don't really want to be a part of that, but you do want to smear everybody else. Anyway,
no, I want Israel to. No, you shut up.
Okay.
You shut up, my little man.
All right.
Okay, Alex.
Okay.
You talk a big game over fucking Zoom. Anyway, here's what I'm saying.
Don't scare me.
Okay.
You're a little.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Hello, Alex and Dave. All right. So I've podcasted with both of you, Dave once, Alex a handful of times. I think we all had similar views during COVID. That's how I got to know you, Alex, during COVID. And then Dave, we had a recent conversation just posted yesterday on Israel-Palestine issue, but more importantly, we responded to the Douglas Murray versus the Douglas Murray and Sam Harris podcast, and we went point by point responding to it. So I have a lot of respect for both of you. Have talked to both of you before. I think we all agree on wokeism. We all agree on COVID, and I think recently agreeing on Israel sounds like from Alex's recent work. Yeah, well, Alex, you were saying that you've been criticizing Israel's response recently, particularly the starvation in your recent Substacks. But I think you were also saying that you still don't agree with Dave's earlier opposition to Israel earlier on in the conflict. But we can get into that if it comes up. But this really started on X when Alex, you called out Dave. I think you want to show some of those tweets, if I'm right. Is that what you wanted to do, or
no? It's not the tweets, but I mean, we can walk through it, or Dave might want to walk through it. I don't know, but yes, I said on Sunday night that Dave thought that Auschwitz was a spa in Unit 731, which was a Japanese killing medical military unit in World War II, was a hot sushi place. And then I said, I'm funning you, Dave. I know you don't know what Unit 731 was. We agreed that Dave would lead off, so I can explain after he speaks why I thought that was why I said that. But that is what I said, and that's, I think, why this started.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna hash this out. I guess Dave, you're gonna start.
I don't have much to say. I mean, I don't really have much to say as a start. I'd say that, yes, Alex tweeted that I thought Auschwitz was a spa, accusing me of being a Holocaust denier. He then pinned it to his Twitter and left it there for 48 hours. Then I haven't kept up with all of the spiraling on Twitter, but then he said that Dave's never faced a real reporter before who's going to be asking him all these tough questions, who's researched him. So, Mr. Real Reporter, you called me a Holocaust denier, pinned it to your Twitter. Back that up, sir.
Okay.
There's my opening.
All right, that sounds fine. I'm going to play a tweet. I'm going to play it's a 34-second clip from YouTube.
Okay.
It's called Not Seeing a Jew Walk Into a Bar. It's you and Richard Spencer.
Oh, okay. How pathetic already.
Say when.
That is, again, the problem of libertarians that, I think we might joke that they're autistic, and what we mean, I mean, it's a harsh joke, but
several of them actually are.
Right, that's true. Well, the alt-right, I mean, if they cured autism, the alt-right would just disappear overnight. It would be a terrible, it would be our Holocaust. Anyway.
Except this one really happened.
Right. But,
do you need to hear that again, Dave? Because that's you
that?
denying the Holocaust.
Oh, dude, come on. Wait, have you lost this debate this badly? Let's
play it again.
You found an old joke,
dude?
Are you this pathetic?
Can you play it again? Liam,
Did you
can
not
play it again for me? Let's just listen to it.
No,
again.
no, 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 no,
All right,
no,
well,
no.
one at a time,
I
one
would
at a
like.
time.
I would like.
Yeah. No, we played it, Alex.
Let's
what you
hear it
got?
again.
Okay, one at
Let's
a
hear it
time. One at a
again.
time. Okay, Alex, you go first. Alex, talk.
Oh,
and then
Jesus
Dave.
Christ.
Okay, Alex, go, and then Dave.
Okay. Okay. Let me know when we can play it again.
Rob, do you really need
we'll
to
play it till David
again?
Nixon
No,
says what it says.
We,
Okay,
can we
Alex.
play it again?
Nice, Alex, dude. You are spiraling, dude. Is this really how you're opening the debate? That I made a joke 10 years ago? That's what you got to back up calling me a Holocaust denier?
I'm sorry. You need to let me know how this works, Dave. Did anyone seriously believe that you thought Auschwitz was a spa? So you can joke that the Holocaust didn't happen to a neo-Nazi, but you are freaking out that I said that you were a Holocaust denier because you back one of the best known Holocaust deniers in the world, Daryl Cooper?
No, none of that's true, but I'm sorry.
Let's play the clip again.
Hold on.
Play it as many times as we need to.
Alex, we all heard you say, let's play the clip again. It's quite pathetic. Let's move on. So that's
No,
what
let's
you've
play
got.
it again, Dave.
Hold on.
Because right now we are in the middle of the most vetted debate of all time. You are denying that you deny.
Let me know when it's time for me to talk,
Holocaust.
and let him keep embarrassing himself. Let me know when it's time for me to talk.
all right, Alex, you want to play the clip again?
I would like to play it again, sure.
Sure.
Okay, all right. Okay, play
Let's just
play
keep
it
playing
again.
until David admits it says what it says, and then we can move forward.
Okay, fine. Play one more time.
How many times you want, Rob? You want to keep playing this clip?
I could play it all night. I love
doing
listening.
Alex-
I know you can because you got nothing else, dude. But Rob, do you really want to do this? You want to keep playing this clip? Go ahead.
I don't see a big utility in it, but Alex is insisting, so I'm just gonna accept this one request, and then
This is what Alex has in lieu of an argument. Okay, go ahead.
That is again
Say when.
the problem of libertarians, that I think we might joke that they're autistic, and what we mean, I mean, it's a harsh joke, but
Well,
what
several
we
of them
mean
actually
by-
are.
Right, that's true. Well, the alt-right, I mean, if they cured autism, the alt-right would just disappear overnight. It would be a terrible. It would be our Holocaust. Anyway,
Except this one really happened.
right. But where was I?
okay,
Over to you, Dave.
all right.
Over to
So Alex, so what's your point on this, Alex? Like, you think he's not joking, or you think he is joking, and then therefore he should?
I'll let him answer whether he's joking or not. Dave, are you joking about that?
Well,
No.
obviously,
Go ahead, Rob. Ask Alex's question. I'm not responding to that. Go ahead.
yeah. Like, I'm curious, Alex.
This is already, by the way, Rob, I've done so many debates. This is the gayest one I've ever been a part of already. 10 seconds in. Alex, you have torched your credibility 10 seconds into a debate. I've never seen anything like this in my life. Rob, go ahead, ask him a question, and then I'll speak uninterrupted once he's done.
All right. So, Alex, what's your point on this?
I'm asking Dave whether he's kidding or whether he's serious in that.
Yeah, I already explained, Rev. I'm not answering this fucking this fucking scumbag's questions. You can let him explain what that was, and then I'll speak uninterrupted.
It looks to
he's
me like
done.
you're denying the Holocaust, Dave. So I'm asking whether you did that as a joke or seriously.
Rob, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm trying to moderate here, but I have given myself, and just to be clear, so for people watching, I'm the moderator for this discussion, but I am giving myself the liberty to interject and provide opinions if I really want to. I'm not a formal moderator where I'm giving each person like 2 minutes to respond to each other. I'm just facilitating a conversation. So like, Alex, I'm curious, are you actually are you considering that maybe he's not joking, or
I'm just asking him what he meant when he told Richard Spencer that the Holocaust never happened. It was a joke, right?
He can fit whenever I can speak uninterrupted. Let me know. Alex
Okay,
can make. Does Alex have a point attached to this video that he insisted on playing multiple times? You want to play it again, Alex?
I'd love to
Since you
play
got
it.
nothing to say.
What was the video a joke, Dave?
Rob, if you want to ask me a question, go ahead.
Yeah. I'm a little confused if Alex, if this is are you actually asking him, or is this supposed to lead to like another point?
I'm until
Nope,
we
there's
know
no
whether-
other point. It's just that. It's just, here's you with Richard Spencer. Let me paint you as bad guy. That's, man, what a New York
Dave,
Times scumbag
you
you
said you
really
never
are, dude.
denied the
Wait, hold
Holocaust.
on. Let me
You
know.
freaked
Alex,
out.
listen, dude,
You said you
because
were
we're
gonna
speaking over
punch
each other.
me
Hey,
over
Rav,
it,
you're
and I just
the
showed you
moderator.
Okay.
Rob,
All right,
you're the moderator, dude.
Okay.
Alex, say whatever you want to say. I won't interrupt, and then let me get some uninterrupted time instead of you speaking over me. Go ahead. Continue embarrassing yourself.
So was what you said in the video a joke, or did you mean it?
Do I have uninterrupted time now? Is that all this guy got? That's
Yeah.
all he had?
Please go.
Okay, so what a pathetic attempt to divert attention from you being unable to defend accusing me of being a Holocaust denier. Yes, I made a joke a decade ago that everybody cracking up laughing in the video might be the first indication that it's a joke. What the type of woke leftist bullshit is this? So you're going to call me a Holocaust denier and pin it to your Twitter to maximize how many people can see this career-ending accusation, and all you have is what? That you're doing clown nose on now? You're saying I was just making a joke? Okay, in other words, you can't back it up for shit. Why did I make that joke a decade ago to Richard Spencer? Because I don't know, I was grilling a guy who's in the alt-right. I was poking at how a lot of those guys believe that. I'm obviously not someone who believes that, but was making the joke. Do you got anything more? Or are you simply saying you can't defend calling me a Holocaust denier at all, and you were also just joking, but you also pinned that to your Twitter to maximize the amount of people who would see it? By the way, not working that well. Doesn't seem like too many people see anything on your Twitter, but you pinned it to maximize the number of people who would see it. You, who call yourself a serious reporter, you're saying you were also just making a joke.
Do I believe that you believe that Auschwitz was a spa, Dave? Does that seem like a serious comment to you?
No, I don't think you're saying I believe it's a spa. I think you were calling me a Holocaust denier.
Okay. You made a joke, you say, of course, to Richard Spencer denying the Holocaust. You say you're not actually a Holocaust denier in the sense that you acknowledge that. Well, let me ask you, the Holocaust did happen, right? We all agree about that, right? Let's just get that out of the way. Okay. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Holocaust.
So you're right. So you already lose. Keep going.
So you made a joke that the Holocaust didn't happen. You agree?
Mm-hmm.
That's a yes or no.
Go, just make your point, dude. I don't really feel like answering any of your questions. You're such a scumbag, but keep going. Make your point.
I will wait until you answer. We can sit here all night.
Okay. Rav, you got any questions for me, bro?
All right. Okay. Let's keep going.
Dude, Alex, this is going so bad for you already. I actually can't believe it. Anyway, Rav, do you have any questions for me, dude? We could make this a short night, dude. Or me and you could just finish this, or you and Alex could just finish this. If he's got, like, if Alex, if you want to, like, put your thumb in your mouth, blow really hard, and try to turn your vagina into a pair of balls, we could have a real debate here, and we could talk about issues that I believe in or issues that you believe in, and you could actually try to take on my arguments. But you want to do this bitch smear job shit? No one cares anymore, dude. Like, what even is the implication here? Ooh, you spoke to Richard Spencer in 2017 and made a joke with him? Like, really, scumbag? You worked at the New York Times while they were selling the war in Iraq. Who's your favorite person to have lunch with at the New York Times? Was it Judith Miller or was it Michael Gordon? Which one of the mouthpieces for war criminals did you enjoy working with the most, as they got 1 million people killed in Iraq? Let's have a real debate, dude. You want to play some more clips of, the worst moments you have of me? Dude, I'm so sorry for ever standing up for you during COVID. You deserved every smear against you that you got. You should have had your life ruined over that shit, because you'll turn around and smear people with the same dishonest shit. Fuck you, dude. Anyway, okay, Rob, you got any questions for me?
Here's what you should say.
You got nothing. You got
here's
nothing,
what
dude.
you should say, and then we can move forward. I'll tell you what you should say, Dave.
I don't give a fuck what you think I should say. Make an argument. Be a man, dude. What type of bitch shit is that?
You talked, baby. Now it's my turn. You talk, baby. I let you talk, and
You didn't let me do anything, dude. You got nothing. That was your opening?
Okay.
What a fucking joke,
Here's
dude.
what you
Okay,
should.
let Alex
Rob,
talk.
can you
Alex,
ask Dave to stop talking, please? Can you
Okay,
ask him to
Alex,
stop
go.
talking? Okay, here's what you should say, Dave. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that to a leading neo-Nazi. It was a terribly stupid fucking thing for me to say. And you know what? Maybe I shouldn't have been platforming a neo-Nazi at all, except I've made my career out of platforming Holocaust deniers, anti-Semites, and neo-Nazis. And we can go through you saying that Candace Owens isn't an anti-Semite when she actually commits blood libel. We can talk about you defending Nick Fuentes when he is openly anti-Semitic. You've been playing this game for 10 years, and yet when I make a joke that you think Auschwitz was a spa, you play the I'm the grandson of a Holocaust survivor's family card. You say you're a Jew, and you try to shut me up. Guess what, Dave? The game, the rules are the same for both sides here. If you're going to make a joke about, excuse me, may I finish?
Yeah, you can finish.
Okay.
Go ahead.
If you're going to make a joke to Richard Spencer, who's a neo-Nazi, that the Holocaust didn't happen, and I find it, and I call you on it, the manly thing to do, although you're not a man, would be to apologize and to acknowledge that what I said to you was the same kind of rhetorical effort, and that what we should be, may I finish? Thank you.
Sorry, it's just so serious.
The same kind of games are the games that you're playing with Daryl Cooper, who is a Holocaust denier. And it's not me saying it, it's Vad Yashem, which is the Holocaust Memorial Museum in Israel, saying that he's a Holocaust denier. And in refusing to acknowledge that, you too are on his side in denying the Holocaust.
Okay, so Rav, so just to be clear here, at the end of that insanity, Alex got around to saying, I am a Holocaust denier. Okay, so what was my opening statement? Defend that now. So anyway, by the way, just to do the same thing to you, Alex, what you should be doing is begging the American people's forgiveness every day for working for the most disgusting organization on the fucking planet, the New York Times, as they sold the war in Iraq and just parroted all of the George W. Bush administration's lies and not saying shit, not resigning because you were so disgusted by what they were doing. 1 million people died because of your friends at your organization. So you could tell me I podcasted with a guy who you don't like. Sorry, not doing shit for me. How I should apologize for making a joke with Richard Spencer. You should apologize for fucking being a part of the worst organization on the face of the planet. And by the way, just for Rob, I know you're young, dude, so you don't like remember that. When I say that Judith Miller is responsible for 1 million people dying, I'm slightly exaggerating, but slightly. I mean, Chalabi was her source. Maybe we could ask Alex, on a scale of 1 to 10, how good of a source was Chalabi, the Iranian spy who the Israeli spies convinced your coworker to believe and parrot on the front page of the New York Times? Listen, you want to do this guilt by association, problematic associations? Fuck you, dude. Yours are so much worse than me. If you want to stop doing that, because none of this is an argument or means anything, if you want to stop doing this and actually talk about what we believe, then we could have that conversation. Daryl Cooper is not a Holocaust denier. You are a fucking liar. And that's all. You just ended that last thing with calling me a Holocaust denier. So, okay, back that up. Hold on. Shut up. Not done. Shut up. That is a career-ending slur. It is a career-ending accusation to throw at someone. You just threw it at me again. Yeah. Back it up.
Okay.
Make an argument.
Okay.
Not I made a joke 10 years ago.
So when I actually proved that you denied the Holocaust, you say it was 10 years ago. When I say
proved that Rav, are you listening to this? He proved that I denied the Holocaust. Are you out of your mind? By the way, all this shit is such a fucking dude. You're not even, first off, you're denying the genocide going on right now in Gaza. In fact, you're not even a genocide denier. You're a genocide advocate. You're on record advocating that no aid be allowed into Gaza. But remove that for a second.
That isn't true at all. That is not, Rob, may I speak?
Proved that I'm a Holocaust. Alex, you proved that I'm a Holocaust denier.
I will speak now. You will not lie about me to my face. I've never said that no aid should be allowed in Gaza.
All right.
Okay,
I've never, Rob,
yeah,
I've never said, and actually you kind of hit at this in your opening. I've never said that no aid should be allowed in Gaza, and I've criticized the Israeli government in the last few months for its conduct of this war. This war has become, an occupation. It's become collective punishment against the Palestinians in Gaza. I don't approve of that at all, but it is very much possible to say that and not get in bed with anti-Semites and Holocaust deniers and neo-Nazis, and that's what you do, Dave. You do it all the time. And Rob, excuse me, it's my turn to speak now. You can be quiet. It's my turn to speak. I'm going to share a screen, please. Okay?
We're showing something else now?
Yeah, we're showing something else.
Jesus.
Okay. Before we go to that, I have one quick question. I don't know if you can answer this, Dave, but just out of curiosity, does Richard Spencer deny the Holocaust?
I have no idea.
Okay, but is he? I don't know much about him. I've heard he's a neo-Nazi. Now, people call a lot of people neo-Nazis, but he is, right? He's.
I mean, he was he called himself like a white nationalist at the time. I don't know what he is now, but this is a long time ago. But I don't know what his position on the Holocaust is. I have no idea.
Okay.
May I share my screen? No, it's just a screen. I think it's just a headline this time. We don't need no clip. Should I read that? It says, Vaad Yashem denounces remarks made by Daryl Cooper regarding Nazi atrocities as historically false. This was after Daryl's appearance on Tucker last September. And I will just read you one sentence from it. Tucker Carlson and his guest, Daryl Cooper, engaged in one of the most repugnant forms of Holocaust denial of recent years. These far-fetched conspiracy theories are not only dangerous and malevolent, they are anti-Semitic. That's the guy you're defending. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you, okay, do you believe that what Daryl Cooper said is Holocaust denial?
No.
Okay. Wait. So you disagree with Vaad Yashem?
Yes.
Okay. The Holocaust Memorial Museum knows less about this than you do.
I mean, what type of stupid appeal to authority is that? Yes, I disagree with them. Daryl was not denying the Holocaust. You also know that Daryl was not denying the Holocaust because you've listened to him clarifying what he said on that several times.
No. You speak for yourself, my friend. I will speak for myself. Daryl did not.
No, you're speaking for me too. Dude.
I will speak for myself. I do
fine.
not know that Daryl did not deny the Holocaust. Daryl did deny the Holocaust. The Holocaust is intentional and genocidal, Dave, and he won't admit that. I asked him directly on Twitter.
He won't admit that?
He won't admit it. I said to him, Daryl, will you acknowledge that the Holocaust was an intentional and genocidal act designed to exterminate the Jewish people? He wouldn't answer. He repeatedly would not. Now my turn. I'm going to ask you a question, Dave. Do you believe that the Holocaust was an intentional and genocidal act by the Nazis designed to exterminate the Jewish people?
Yes.
Okay. So Daryl Cooper will not say that. That's a simple thing to say.
Yeah,
he won't say it. You just did.
Dude, this is the gayest struggle session shit ever. So because he won't say it, Again, every time you keep telling me not to interrupt, but you interrupt me every time I speak. So you just said a whole bunch of bullshit. So now I'm going to correct and smack down all that nonsense that you just said. Okay. So let me speak now. This is all Alex has. It's fucking pathetic. First of all, you've already reaffirmed in this debate after backing away. First, you say you were just joking. Then you say I am a Holocaust denier. I'm going to need you to make up your mind on that. And if I am one, you're going to have to argue how I am one, especially since you just point blank asked me if I believe in it, and I said yes. This is what Daryl Cooper said, okay? Let's just be clear. And by the way, it's so much worse than what Alex is saying, because Alex, I saw that your exchange on Twitter where you went and listened to his half-hour presentation about the Holocaust in Ukraine. We can get more into that in a second. By the way, Rav, I should correct myself before. Did I say that Alex had advocated that no aid get into Gaza? I'm sorry. His exact words were no, capital N-O, supplies to Gaza until every civilian hostage is released. So that's what Alex called for. No supplies. Sorry if I said aid. Genocide advocate, Alex. But anyway.
When did he say that?
When did I say that, Dave? Can you answer, Ralph?
On Twitter in 23.
Oh, okay. So a year and a half ago. No. You brought this up a year and a half ago when the war had just begun.
You just went back. Dude, You just went back 10 years to a joke I made with Richard Spencer. I'm sorry, you only advocated for the genocide at the beginning, but now that the policy is coming due, you're getting off the sunken ship because there's like babies starving and stuff. So you don't really want to be a part of that, but you do want to smear everybody else. Anyway,
no, I want Israel to. No, you shut up.
Okay.
You shut up, my little man.
All right.
Okay, Alex.
Okay.
You talk a big game over fucking Zoom, faggot. Anyway, here's what I'm saying.
Don't scare me. Okay. You're a little bitch from.
Okay.
Brooklyn.
All right. Okay. Okay. Guys. Stop. Guys. Hey, we're not in high school.
No, Rob.
Guys.
Sorry.
This feels a little bit like high school right now. Let's not call each other names. Really.
No, honestly,
all right, not call me a faggot.
You're probably right. I'm probably honestly.
No more names, guys. No more names.
And I've done
no more names.
I've done so many debates over these years. I've just never. I'm sorry, not to say names. I've never seen anything as slimy and disgusting as the way Alex is coming at me here. But let me just say, here was martyr made.
Okay, I just want to say this, guys. No more names. That just looks ridiculous. Like you guys are smart.
All right. Okay, fine.
Even if we
you're not going to scare me, Dave.
Okay.
I know who you are.
I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to demonstrate in front of the
By
entire
calling me
audience what a
Like-
fucking scumbag you are. That's all I'm
A
doing. I'm not
fucking
trying to scare
scumbag.
you.
I thought we just said no more names. Rob,
I don't care, dude. I don't care. I'm not
please
following
put your
these
boy on a
rules.
leash. Can you please put him on a leash?
Yeah, Alex, come put me on a leash, buddy. Anyway, Rob, I don't know if this even makes sense to continue. This like guys too pathetic.
That's fine with me.
Yeah,
I think
anyway,
we can continue. I think we can keep
played
going.
the clip that I needed to play, and people will judge you for themselves.
Alex, just wait till the reaction to this and see how people are judging who. I know you'll find an excuse for that. This is the funny thing. Alex already tweeted the other day. He goes, all the losers will say that Dave won. So you already have an excuse for why. But yes, let's see how everybody judges this, Alex. Let's see. Anyway, here was Daryl Cooper's response to Alex. This is what he's saying is Holocaust denial. Daryl Cooper wrote, and I quote, I wasn't deliberately doing anything. This is response to Alex ridiculously claiming that he was deliberately conflating POWs with Holocaust victims. He said, it was an off-the-cuff comment, which I've said I don't blame people, including you, for misconstruing. Trying to explain why I object to the strategy of imposing a hunger blockade, the same type of blockade Alex was just supporting. Millions of Jews died as a result of actions taken by the Germans. How many were massacred? How many died of disease or hunger or overwork or in battles as partisans or at the hands of locals in the occupied territories? I don't know, and I don't think anyone does, but no doubt huge numbers were innocent people who died by violence. And again, as I said to Tucker, none of those explanations, except partisan fighting, which is a small fraction of the total, none of those accusations absolve the Germans of the charge of mass murder. That was Daryl Cooper's response.
That's
and Alex here, shut up. Alex here is claiming that he's a Holocaust denier because even though he claimed it was mass murder, he didn't say it was the systemic attempt to eliminate an entire group of people, because he had already said that. And then Alex
didn't
just
say that,
struggle
Dave. He
sessioning
didn't
him.
say that,
Alex,
and that's why Yad Vashem said he's a Holocaust denier. I'm not going to let you lie. I will not let you lie. Okay.
No. You don't.
I will not let you lie.
Okay. Can we let
you lie?
Can we let Dave finish then?
No, I can't stop you from lying, but I can point out when you lie, and you're lying.
Okay. Let Dave
so again,
respond,
Ralph,
Alex.
Here's the game they always play. He'll tell me to stop interrupting when he's trying to talk, but then when he interrupts me, he goes, I will not let you lie. Like, okay, you're just interrupting me to break up my point. Anyway, nobody's denying anything, but look.
Okay, so why did the Holocaust Memorial Museum,
again, when I
said Daryl Cooper, let's just go back to it.
Rob,
you won't
this
answer
is
these
just like
questions.
not.
You can't.
No.
If you're gonna run, it's fine.
Can we let Dave finish?
No, Rob, we're gonna be done here because he's just gonna run. It's fine. He's gonna yell at me. I'll yell back at him. This is going nowhere. I thought actually, I'm naive. I hope that when you saw that clip, you would say, you know what? I actually did fuck up here, and I shouldn't have done that. But you are far too deep in bed with this group to admit anything, and that's just,
okay. Do you
want me to let's play Candace Owens' blood? No. I will talk now. I will talk.
No.
Yeah.
Rav, I mean,
okay. All right.
No,
Rav,
I'm sorry, but there's no way.
We're
There's no way
opening
this
up
pussy is going to bully me around.
We're opening
you
up
will
a
be
lot of
quiet
here.
for a minute.
Can we let Dave? I think Dave
then I won't either, dude. We'll
Okay,
just
Dave-
talk over each other.
Dave was,
talking.
okay, Dave was in the
Okay,
middle of
I'm
talking.
done letting you lie. I'm
Okay,
done.
Alex,
No, I don't.
can we
Alex,
let
you
Dave
don't get
finish?
to say that.
Hey,
I haven't
guys,
lied.
Guys,
you haven't lied?
Hey,
Okay.
guys, stop.
Yes.
Okay, Dave, you're gonna finish, and then I have a question, and then Alex, you're gonna talk. All right, Dave, finish.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, Alex did break up a lot of the point I was trying to make there, but no one has denied the Holocaust, including Daryl. Calling it mass murder really seems to indicate that it was the intentional killing,
Nope. Sorry, Dave,
unjustified.
it doesn't.
Again, dude, I mean,
Okay,
Rob,
okay,
you might
Dave.
have to mute him or something, but he can't do this every time I speak.
Okay, let Alex. Can we let Dave finish? Then you can go.
Sure.
Okay, all right.
This is such a womanly thing. Okay. Anyway, so yes, he clearly is not denying. For any reasonable person, they would say like, okay, denying the Holocaust would be saying the Holocaust didn't happen. I don't believe millions of Jews were killed by the Nazis. I think it was only 200 to 300,000 or something like that. Alex has nothing on Daryl saying anything like that. What he's got is him saying it's mass murder, and then he's angry that he won't say, but it was mass murder to eradicate all of the. It's like it's literally he should have purple hair and be in a gender studies class right now. It's insane. But okay, Alex has made a very specific charge in this debate. Let's get back to that. I said back it up. He said I was just joking the way you were just joking. He obviously knows the clip he played was a joke. But then at the end of his next answer, he once again said, Dave, you're also a Holocaust denier. So once more, I'll say, Alex, you're going to make that accusation. It's a pretty big one. Back it up.
Okay.
What do you got?
Is it Rob? Is it my turn?
Yeah, and I want you to clarify, like you think Dave's a Holocaust denier and Daryl Cooper, or one of them is?
Daryl Cooper is a Holocaust denier. Okay.
And what does Holocaust denier mean?
And it's not me saying this. It's the Holocaust Memorial Museum saying it. Okay. So Dave is not arguing when he defends Daryl Cooper with me. He's arguing with the Holocaust Memorial Museum. And I'll just, if I may, am I allowed to speak?
Yeah, Alex, I want you to talk, but also, can you clarify like what you mean by Holocaust denier?
Let sorry, Rob. May I just read for a second? Since we're all being quiet now.
Yeah, you can talk.
Accusation chairman Danny Dayan remarked, Tucker Carlson and his guest Daryl Cooper engaged in one of the most repugnant forms of Holocaust denial of recent years. These far-fetched conspiracy theories are not only dangerous and malevolent, they are anti-Semitic. That is not me saying that. It is the Holocaust Memorial Museum, which is sort of, to the extent any place is entitled to comment on the Holocaust and is the keeper of the Holocaust, they're saying it. Now, Dave says he's actually willing to say that the Holocaust was intentional and genocidal. And, he knows what Daryl is doing. He knows that by not saying that, Daryl is denying the Holocaust as the Holocaust Memorial Museum says it. But I guess because he likes Dave, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm sorry, because he likes Daryl, I'm trying to give Dave the benefit of the doubt on this. Let's try to take it down a notch and actually have a conversation. He won't call Daryl Cooper out for Daryl Cooper's Holocaust denial. And Daryl Cooper is unquestionably a Holocaust denier. And again, if Dave wants to argue that, he's got to tell me and you and the world why the Holocaust Memorial Museum says that Daryl Cooper is a Holocaust denier.
Okay, I think. Okay,
can I respond to that now?
No, first I want to interject and to say, like, Alex, you're citing this particular source. But you are arguing independently as well that Daryl's a Holocaust denier. So first, I want to ask you about that. What is a Holocaust denier, and why is Daryl?
If you will not acknowledge that the Holocaust was more than simply mass murder, more than simply mistakes made by the Germans in camps, but that it was the intentional genocidal attempt to exterminate European Jews, and eventually, if the Nazis had gotten everywhere, all Jews, then you're denying the Holocaust. That's why Vadia Shem says that Daryl Cooper's denying the Holocaust. And when I gave him, and he said, you know what, you misunderstood me. This was this week. He said, you misunderstood me. And I said, okay, I misunderstood you. Let's just clear it up. Let's just ask directly. You, no one else, you. Can you say this was intentional and genocidal? And he would not answer. Dave, to his credit, did answer and said yes, because Dave knows what the Holocaust is. And I presume that the joke that he made 10 years ago doesn't change that. Just as the joke that I made this week isn't actually an attempt to say that you don't think any Jews died in Germany or Poland or Ukraine in 1942, Dave. You're not a moron. You know that. But unfortunately, you have been co-opted or co-opted yourself, I don't know what, to this very, really dangerous group of people who like the fact that you're Jewish and use you. And you're allowing yourself to be used, and it's dangerous.
Okay. One more. Okay, Dave, just give me one more thing before we let Dave talk. Alex, so you're saying that because Daryl isn't acknowledging what you want him to acknowledge, like he's not saying the things that you're saying, that therefore he's a Holocaust?
No, Rob, it's not what I'm saying. You have to. We can put it back up on the screen. It's the Holocaust Memorial Museum. It's Holocaust scholars. There's an accepted definition of this. An accepted historical definition of this. Stop making this about me versus Daryl.
No, I'm not.
Oh, you are though, and you need to stop. Okay.
No, I'm not. No, I was saying your particular definition.
Dave, you're not going to yell, so we can actually have a conversation.
Yeah.
Okay? So you need to stop, and you need to acknowledge that what I'm saying is backed by his. And now Dave's laughing. When Dave is losing, he starts laughing. Just as he did.
Dude, I'm not losing, man.
Okay.
Alex, to be 100% clear,
I'm going to be quiet.
I'm laughing because Rob has no idea what the fuck you're saying,
I've
dude.
made my points, and I'm going to be quiet.
Yeah, Alex, to be clear, I was
just
not debating you. If anything, like I was just helping clarify because I was just confused. Okay. I was not. I was not debating you.
Okay,
Alex.
okay. And now listen, I've spoken.
Okay,
I've spoken plenty. I'm going to let Dave, as long as he doesn't lie about me,
cool.
he can say whatever he wants.
Okay, so I'll get to talk now, and you be okay. So I was not laughing because I'm losing. I'm laughing because the moderator is asking clarifying questions, and from the look on his face, can't figure out what the fuck you're saying. That's what I'm laughing at. And Alex, like, how pathetic is it for Alex Berenson, the guy who's only ever been good on COVID, the only issue in your entire career that you were good at, and you were heroically good on it, man. You were so good on it that we were all championing you for it. And then your defense is, well, the institution that's in charge of this says so. So you might as well be saying, you're not arguing with me, you're arguing with the Center for Disease Control. Wow, Alex, what a point. What the hell does any of that mean? Dude, you listened, or at least you pretended, maybe you lied. You are, I think, a liar, but you said on Twitter that you listened to Daryl Cooper's half-hour segment on the Holocaust in Ukraine, where Daryl Cooper is telling the story of, for people who don't know out there, I mean, the Ukrainian chapter of the Holocaust was, I don't know if it's the most brutal, but man, it was fucking horrible. I mean, and I think that was right at the beginning of the Holocaust. Yeah. I know there's one massacre where 30,000 Jews were killed in one massacre, and Daryl Cooper is telling the story in graphic detail of the fucking, telling stories about a baby getting thrown into a ravine and a mother diving in after the baby, people being lined up and systematically shot in the head, a mother begging for her daughter to be shot in the head so she's not raped before she's shot in the head. That's the work that you've listened to of Daryl Cooper. And when Rob asks
loves to talk about dead Jews, we can agree about that. Daryl Cooper loves to talk
let him finish.
I sat there and let you have your whole fucking thing of bullshit lies. Let me say my piece now. And you listen to this guy say that. And then when Rob even asks you, what's your definition of a Holocaust denier? What do you even mean by this? You can't give an answer. All you can say is there's an organization, there's a blatant appeal to authority fallacy. So again, what's the answer? You called me a Holocaust denier. Defend that. Right. At what point do you have to back up that accusation?
Maybe the point where I showed you denying the Holocaust. Should we play the video again? Should we just go back to that?
I mean, Rob, this is crazy, dude.
Okay,
so what is it?
Wait.
What is your claim here?
You have asked me, and here I am trying to answer you in good faith.
Go ahead, try.
Okay. If you are not willing to acknowledge that the Holocaust was intentional and genocidal and an effort by the Germans to exterminate European Jewry, you're denying the Holocaust. That's very simple. It's not an appeal to authority, okay? And Daryl Cooper knows that. He knows the game that he's playing, and I have to believe you know the game that he's playing. What's interesting to me is that you are willing to admit that. You'll say what he won't, but you won't criticize him for not saying it. You'll defend him. And yes,
Correct.
and I'll say one more thing, and then Daryl Cooper does love talking about dead Jews. It is one of his favorite things to talk about. And why that might be, if he were here, I would ask him.
Okay, but he's not. So anyway, let's debate me. Can you back up to calling me? Aside from claiming, like, I'm not even sure. This is why Rav asked you and you couldn't answer the question. Are you claiming that was me denying the Holocaust, like in that clip that you played? Or
did you deny the Holocaust
that was a
clip,
joke?
or was it?
Hold on. Oh my
Okay.
God, Jesus Christ, dude. You won't let anyone speak. So you're making two different arguments. They both can't be true. One or the other has to be true. One was you were saying, obviously that's a joke, but obviously what I was saying on Twitter was a joke too. The other one is saying, I've already proved you're a Holocaust denier when you said it there. Which one is it, man? Like, Alex, I don't know what's going on in your personal life, dude. Get your head together. What is your argument here? Make your argument, and then I can respond to it.
So you have said that was a joke, right? You said that fairly, like maybe 45 long minutes ago. You said I was joking. You didn't say it was a stupid joke. You said I was joking, obviously, with Richard Spencer. Can we agree on that? That's a, like, do we have to go back and roll the tape? Like, at some point you said that.
You can keep rolling it in your mind. Just make your argument.
Okay. Are you going to answer the question? It's very hard for us to have a conversation if you won't answer yes or no questions.
Mm-hmm. Just make your point, buddy.
Okay, I'm going to ask you it again. Did you say that you were joking?
I mean, Alex, dude, what are you doing here, buddy? Like, we've already established this. Make your argument. Make an actual argument. For the first time in this debate, dude, make an argument. What are we doing here?
You can keep
like, what are we doing?
I'm not debating.
What are you debating?
I'm not making
Alex, just make the point.
Yelling. Okay.
I'm just yelling. I'm asking you to make an argument.
Are
you claiming I'm a Holocaust denier or not?
I'm asking you a question. Did you say you were joking or not?
Yes.
Let me ask you a different question.
Yes, Alex, that was a joke. Have you not picked up on that yet? Yes, that was a joke.
Here's my question to you. Do you think that my tweet of this week was a serious comment that you thought Auschwitz was a spa?
What I thought, okay, listen, dude, if you want to try to actually try to segue back into a real conversation between two men here, it's not that obviously you don't really believe I'm a Holocaust denier. Obviously, correct. You were saying like a tongue-in-cheek thing. The correct. Point is that when you, Alex, not a comedian, a fucking New York Times journalist or whatever, a guy who's been in media for all these years, you call me a Holocaust denier, even as a joke, and then pin it to your fucking Twitter of 500,000 people to try to get as many people to see that as possible. Yeah, I think that's kind of fucked up, dude.
Okay.
That's
so
it's
not,
hold on, not done.
Okay,
that's different.
Go on.
That's different than making an off-the-cuff joke on a podcast, which is obviously a joke. This is putting something in writing and then pinning it for as many people to see it as possible. Like, honestly, Alex, like, forget it. Listen, I know I've said some things to you. Probably if I was a mature person who had a better upbringing, maybe I wouldn't have fucking, been calling you the insults I am right now. But do you really not see where that's a scumbag move, dude? That's a like, you didn't, Alex, me and you, we don't know each other super well, but we know each other. We've met each other. We've DM'd before. I caught your back hard during COVID, dude. Not that I'm the most important voice in the world. Not that you're the most important voice in the world, but I went on Rogan and caught your back. I went on Tucker and caught your back. You could have very easily reached out. You could have even quote tweeted, even challenged me and said, hey, Dave, I like what you say on some things. I think it's really messed up that you're defending Daryl Cooper on this. And then we could have had like a good faith conversation. You decided to quote tweet me and say, says the guy who thinks Auschwitz is a spa, and then pin it to your Twitter. So yes, Alex, I get that you're not literally saying, like, I know that you don't believe that because you're not that stupid,
right,
but do you not get where I might feel like, yo, dude, that's like a wild out of pocket thing to come at someone with, especially someone who's been very decent to you.
Okay. You know what? Like, actually now it took a while. We're having a real conversation here now. And I don't want to blow it up right away. But I think you need to understand, or hopefully I can help. Maybe I can't. You, for whatever reason, are playing footsie with a lot of people who are not where you are on this, including Daryl Cooper. I'm talking about on the Holocaust, okay?
Mhm.
You are playing footsie with a lot of people who are openly anti-Semitic. And I don't mean anti-Israel, okay? You can be very anti-Israel and be Jewish and not be anti-Semitic at all. I mean, I don't know if you've read it, but the New Yorker had a piece this week by David Remnick, and it is, it's pretty strongly anti-Israel. And the headline is something like Israel's Zones of Denial, which is a clear reference to a movie about the Holocaust called The Zone of Interest, which came out in 2023, in which it's about Rudolf Hess, the Nazi commandant at Auschwitz, having a family life there as the crematoria are running, okay? So there's no way to read that headline and not understand that the New Yorker is saying that what Israel is doing in Gaza is in some way equivalent to that, okay? And I suspect you agree with that. I mean, and I unfortunately I don't fully agree with that, but I certainly don't agree with what Israel's doing right now. Let me be clear about that.
Wow.
Okay? I think conducting a war and trying to destroy an enemy, that can be just, okay? But running an occupation for years and punishing a civilian population is not just, okay? Those are two different things. They really are. Now, it seems to me, and I didn't quite realize this until, about 5 minutes ago, you're actually kind of, oddly enough, giving me some authority here. You're saying I'm not just some schmoo with a Substack. I worked at the New York Times, and so it bothers you that I said this in this slapdash way. Okay, what I probably should have said was, I really don't like that Dave Smith, who did have my back on COVID, who we have commonalities. Like, you're from New York, you went to a prep school in New York, whatever. We don't have everything in common. As you said, we have some things in common. I don't like it. And I don't like, it worries me that you are doing things like defending Candace. And Candace is really blood libeling people. And so
Blood libeling? What does blood libeling even mean?
It means that saying that Jews are killing Christian children and drinking their blood. That's literally what it means. Wait.
Yeah, no, all right.
Let me finish, and then I'll let you talk, because I
Sure.
do. Maybe I should have called. I mean, I don't have your number, but maybe I should have, reached out to you and said, hey, I don't get it. But here's my problem: is there have been people who've said this to you in a polite way for years now, and said, hey, Dave, when you say this about Churchill, it's not really what Churchill said. Churchill didn't say the war was, shouldn't have happened. He didn't say that. And, that's a video I can show you. But you don't seem to, I guess you don't, to my mind, you don't seem to understand the game that you're playing. There's a difference between you and Daryl Cooper. You will acknowledge the truth of the Holocaust. Daryl Cooper will not.
Okay, okay. So let me respond to a little bit of that. Okay, so it's not like a late in the game. All right, let me say this first, because I'll tell you, I can't look, and I'm not even saying these people are right, but I've had a lot of people who both me and you know, and both me and you respect, who have told me I shouldn't be doing this debate with you tonight. Like, they're like, dude, what are you doing? Like, he's just kind of nipping at your heels and trying to get relevance. Like, he called you a Holocaust denier. Why even bother debating that guy? But you are right, Alex. Like, really, the kind of essence of it is that I still see my guy. I still see myself as I'm just some guy. I'm just a comedian who's out here talking shit. And you're from the New York Times, dude. And for you to smear me. So okay, maybe that's actually true, that I got a little bit of imposter syndrome or something like that. And I got to realize that actually we're both just guys. And I don't know, that's not necessarily the truth, that you're the guy at the newspaper of record and I'm the guy who's just down here.
For 15 years, man.
Yeah, fair enough. But again, I do think that look, obviously, it's not like a maybe late in the game. You should have responded to a guy who don't know that well, but and have communicated with and have met, and who defended you when you were really up against it. Yeah, obviously, the response should have been something like, hey, Dave, how are you defending this guy, rather than you think Auschwitz was a spa and then pinning that to your tweet. That does,
the pinning really gets you, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that's a really scummy thing to do. Yes.
Okay.
So but like obviously that's correct, and I would hard press you to find anyone, literally anyone, over the last 15 years of my career who's ever come at me in good faith and had a disagreement with me, who I did not have a good faith discussion with. The only reason why I'm talking the shit about you that I'm talking is because I don't know, dude, like where the way I grew up, the way I'm from, those are fighting words, dude. Those are like, I'm trying to ruin your life and I'm going to do my best to do it. So then it's like, okay, well, then I guess that's what we're doing. Anyway, if you like, no, it is not true. The thing about it is here is that I understand you want me to say this or say that. You're just wrong. You're not getting it. Like you
what do you think I want you to say?
Well, let me just finish the point I'm making. What you just said you wanted me to say, oh, what Candace is doing is dangerous. What Daryl's doing is dangerous. They're not where I am. I'm in a different place. What you don't understand is that you have so much more to apologize for just for being a part of an apparatus like the New York Times, as they were getting 1 million people killed in Iraq. And Daryl, dude, listen, again, this thing, it's all about how you approach this shit, right? Like after, understand this, Alex, right? Once you start like leveling career ending smears against someone, we're not having a good faith conversation anymore. If you, just being Alex Berenson, who I respect the fuck out of for your record on COVID, had come to me and said, dude, I really want to talk to you about this stuff, we could have had a really good faith conversation about all of this. The truth is that I have no problem saying that like the Holocaust was a systemic effort to kill all the Jews. But if you ever came at me the way you did at Daryl, and then he responded with what he did, and then you responded by publicly calling him a Holocaust denier, I'm not participating in a struggle session. I'd never go to you then, oh yes, no, it was a systemic effort or anything like that. It's obviously the immediate reaction is going to be like, fuck you. And you know what? Honestly, here's the truth. None of this is really that relevant to right now. There's an actual genocide going on that people are denying. And then there's people like you who are trying to say, hey, but you denied the genocide against my people that happened 80 years ago. People don't really care. Like this is an insane ask.
It's interestingly, I actually quite agree with you on that. I mean, I've thought about the Holocaust more in the last week than in the last 10 years. Okay. But what, okay. And we can talk about Israel, and Rob is probably right. Like there's a lot of places where I agree with you. And again, like war is a moving target. Okay. And you may have thought that this was terrible from the beginning. I did not think that. And I think there are just wars and unjust wars. And I think you can conduct wars justly and unjustly. We could talk about that. But I do, I think, to take a like hypothetical, if Israel, had dropped a nuclear bomb on Gaza in, November of 2023, that would have been unjust. Okay. That would have been unjust even then. Okay. So things change over time, and you may not agree. You may have thought this was terrible from the get-go, but one thing about me actually that I don't think you really are really even understanding, honestly, is that I'm not really an ideologue. And if anything, like sometimes I'm just a little bit slick, and it seems like, and I do, if there's one talent that I have, Dave, it's getting under people's skin. And I clearly got under your skin with this, probably more than I intended to. I mean, there's a reason I got banned from Twitter, right? So what I'm not asking you to disavow, Daryl Cooper or Candace, but what I am saying to you is those people, like they do have, I mean, you just proved it to me that you don't have exactly the same take on the Holocaust, and then we can forget the Holocaust, okay? If you want, we can talk Israel, whatever. We can continue.
Well, I don't know what do you think is the difference between my take and Daryl Cooper's take or Candace Owens' take on the Holocaust?
You just said it. You said something that Daryl wouldn't say.
Yeah, but that's not having a different take. There's like, I don't think you heard the point that I said to you. I don't think you got what I was saying. I'm saying me having the same take I have right now just would not, like, look, even in the same way when you said to me that you're going to ask me for proof that I'm actually Jewish or proof that my family actually died in the Holocaust, my reaction is, fuck you, dude. Because it started with you calling me a Holocaust denier. So I'm not like in the position to now prove to you that I have. However, if we were just having like a friendly conversation where you hadn't made these public accusations, I'd be quite happy to talk about a lot of that stuff.
It wasn't an accusation.
Way, maybe you're not appreciating the fact that you're coming at people in a very aggressive way. And look, dude, the thing that actually you reached out to me for and thanked me and Tucker for was when I was on Tucker Carlson's podcast and I was talking about how a lot of the political dynamics are actually personality types and it's not so much about left and right. And I go, look, here's someone like Alex Berenson. Now, one of the most people are not willing to take arrows on the level that you are, but you're the type of guy. Now, maybe you're saying the same thing in a different way, that you get under people's skin or something like that. But I'm not making the point that I'm saying, dude, like it's good that you take the arrows and got kicked off Twitter and told the truth when it really mattered to tell the truth. But this is a totally different thing, dude. I'm telling you, you're wrong. This is not Daryl Cooper's position on the Holocaust. You're reading into this something that's not there. And because you're coming at it in the same way that led to the opening of this debate going the way it did, look, Alex, be honest, dude, you already admitted that maybe it's the way you come at people just from this debate already. Don't you see that if you had come at me this way, we would have been having a real debate, but instead you came at me that way. And so we had that debate. You came at Daryl that way. You didn't come at him in a good faith way. And that's why eventually he's like, fuck you. I'm not saying the next thing you want me to say. And he's right about that. And he's right about the Holocaust, which is that it did happen.
I totally disagree with you. I actually was completely good faith. I asked him like a question I thought that he would say yes to. I thought it was pretty, I mean, you said yes. It's a pretty straightforward question. And there's a reason Daryl Cooper won't say yes. And there's a reason that Vadyashev.
What's that reason?
Because he likes the strategic ambiguity of his position.
Right. You're just making that up, dude. I mean, this is the thing is that you go, the reason he won't say this is for strategic ambiguity. That is totally an invention out of your mind. There's so many other reasons that could be the reason.
Unfortunately, hold on one second. We're both sort of talking for Daryl. Daryl's not here, but
you're stupid. So let's move on. Let's talk about each other. Let's get over it. Like, I don't know, but you're the one who's insisting on this being the topic of debate. And then you're insisting that you get to assume that the reason he's not saying this is strategic ambiguity. And you're not even having the humility to go, I mean, I assume it's strategic ambiguity. Maybe it's something else. You don't know what's going on in his head, and neither do I. So since I know him a lot better than you do, I probably know a lot better what's going on in his mind. I'm telling you, you're wrong. Okay. Let's move on to us debating what we believe in. This is what actually matters. Can you defend what Israel's doing today or no?
Okay, wait. I will answer that. And
sure.
But you asked me a question about Daryl, and I tried to answer it. You told me I was wrong. You told me you know him better than I do. So let me ask the question to you. What leads him not to want to say yes to that?
I mean, I thought, again, as I said before, I thought that the text or the tweet that I just read was about as clear as could be. And that I really thought it's insane. I mean, this is what I think, honestly, Alex. I think for someone who just listened to a half hour of Daryl Cooper explaining the firsthand accounts of the brutality that was imposed on the victims of the Ukrainian Holocaust. After listening to that, and then after his message about how many innocent Jews died of violence and that it's all mass murder, I think it's insane for you to have a follow-up that goes, but you didn't say it was systemic racism. That's my honest take on it. And I think it's like, if you notice, I don't think it's a coincidence that in this debate, Rav asked you, what's your definition of a Holocaust survivor? And you went right to, well, the Holocaust Museum says he did this and this, because almost everybody who's listening would think a Holocaust denier is someone who's saying Hitler didn't murder millions of Jews. And yet you can't find any example of Daryl Cooper saying that, and you can't find any example of me saying that, and yet you've called both of us Holocaust deniers on this podcast tonight, and you can't back either of those accusations up.
I thought we had, wait. I thought we'd actually come to a somewhat better place on that, where you acknowledged that you joked about your comment with Richard Spencer, and you acknowledged that I obviously don't think that you think that Auschwitz is a small. Right? Like we both.
Yeah, but Alex, I think you're missing the point. No. I'm sorry, Alex. I don't mean to like this is a weird moment in court where I got to turn to read back the minutes. Rav, read back the minutes of this thing. After you pretended that you didn't know whether I was joking or not, then you straight up said you're a Holocaust denier, just like Daryl Cooper. You said that on this very program tonight. And then when you pushed me, I admitted that, yeah, I don't really think you believe I'm a Holocaust denier. I just thought you were saying that to like get a big reaction and to try to smear me. But that doesn't dispel the like that doesn't change the fact that no, you did say that I'm a Holocaust denier, and so is Daryl. And you can't back that up for shit.
You denied the Holocaust to Richard Spencer.
Okay, so then again, Alex, you got to choose here. So you're saying like which one is it here? Because you really got to choose.
No.
Hold on. Let me finish this.
Right back let me just. We were in a better place, but you're intended.
I know. But right now, you really have to pick, because otherwise, you're just like being very dishonest.
You are being dishonest. You're not acknowledging. Although you did. Wait. You did acknowledge.
You're running away, dude. You're running away from this.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let Dave finish. And Alex, Alex, then I want you to respond. Alex,
okay. Listen, you are either claiming that I was joking with Richard Spencer and you were joking when you called me a Holocaust denier, or you're claiming that I really denied it and you're really calling me a denier. Come on, dude. Like, we could keep this going good faith, but which one is it? You got to pick one of the two.
Okay. Obviously, you have said you believe the Holocaust happened, right? You said that tonight, right? You didn't deny the Holocaust.
There's no point in forming this in the phrase of a question. Just come on, man. Just respond to what I just said.
You don't like answering my questions. I'm going to ask you a question. Okay. So,
Jesus Christ, man. Like, just answer the question, dude. Are
you
saying I was joking and you were joking, or I was serious and you were serious?
You would not answer any of my questions. Okay. So we're stuck. Okay. I mean, Alex, this is really bad for you, man. I mean, you really should just respond to what I said. Are you claiming that I was joking? I said, like, you say you were joking about Richard Spencer. That's good enough for me. Of course you were joking.
But were you joking?
Was I joking?
A Holocaust denier.
Do I think that you think that Auschwitz was a spa? What do you think, Dave? Okay.
Wait, so you're asking me the question on both counts, but then forget the tweet.
These are the same. Okay,
forget the tweet, Alex. In this debate, you said you're a denier just like Daryl Cooper. So do you believe that?
Then you distinguished yourself from Daryl Cooper.
No, not then. I've distinguished myself. I've made it clear a million times over the years. I've told stories of my family's involvement. What are you talking about, dude? Again, either you were joking, or were you making the accusation, dude?
It's my turn to speak. On Rogan,
Alex, go. Yeah.
On Rogan, you said that Daryl Cooper had not downplayed the Nazi atrocities. Okay.
Correct.
Vashem says that by the commonly accepted definition of Holocaust denial, Daryl Cooper's a Holocaust denier. You don't agree with it. You don't agree with it, right?
My friend Pete said you're full of shit.
Okay. Vashem is not.
What does that mean? You're just saying someone else said something. This is a debate, Alex. Make an argument. You can't just say these guys said it. The CDC said 15 days to slow the spread.
You yourself,
right? What does that mean?
You yourself said what the Holocaust was tonight, but you won't agree that refusing to say it and in saying something entirely different. Daryl Cooper is a Holocaust denier, even though Vashem said it.
Again, Alex, I don't know how much I can express this. This argument is on the level of saying the CDC said this or the WHO said this. That's not an argument, man. And I know people give me shit. People give me shit for saying that's not an argument or saying that's an appeal to authority. But like, I'm right. That's what that is. That's not an argument. So just in your own words, without appealing to a third body, make your point. What are you talking about,
We're going
dude?
around and around in circles here.
Yeah, because you can't answer the question.
I've said it repeatedly. I mean, I've said it now close to a dozen times. The Holocaust was an intentional genocidal effort by the Nazis. I mean, I'll keep saying it. The Holocaust was an intentional genocidal effort by the Nazis to exterminate European Jews. You agreed with that definition. So you're not a Holocaust denier if you agree with that definition.
Okay, so then you were wrong. So then in other words, you were wrong when you called me that on the show tonight and on Twitter.
And you were wrong when you told Richard Spencer that the Holocaust hadn't happened.
No, I wasn't wrong. I was hilarious. We've already established.
Okay, and my comment that you thought Auschwitz was a spa was equally hilarious.
Dude,
if you're going to give yourself an out of joking, then you have to accord me the same courtesy.
Alex, come on. Hold on, Alex, dude, come on, man. You're too good to be saying this out loud in front of people on a microphone. If you're saying, again, this is why I asked you, if you're saying I was joking and you were joking, fine. But then you called me that on the show tonight and you weren't joking. So to pull up something and say I made a joke 10 years ago,
what I said was the clip showed you
were wrong.
What I said
was joking, you were wrong.
No.
That's the answer.
No, the clip showed you saying that, and you weren't willing to answer my questions, my man. Now you're acknowledging the truth.
Christ.
We've gotten somewhere.
Dude.
You are acknowledging the
Rob,
truth.
I don't know, Rob. I'm trying my best here, man. If you want to take over and lead a little bit, go ahead.
So Alex, you don't think Dave is a Holocaust denier, but you think Daryl Cooper is a Holocaust denier, right?
Yes, that's correct. Dave answered a question that he hadn't been willing to answer before. Dave said that he was joking with his Richard Spencer quote. Dave's not a Holocaust denier. And when I say that Dave thinks Auschwitz was a spa, clearly no human being alive, not even a Holocaust denier, thinks that Auschwitz was a spa. It was hyperbole. It got under his skin. He did. Wait. Let me finish. He didn't like that I pinned it. I am trying to get him to acknowledge, which he won't do, unfortunately, that there's a difference between the way he answered the question, which is true, and the way Daryl Cooper will not answer the question. I don't know why he wants to defend Daryl Cooper so much. That's his business.
Because I think he's so goddamn great, man. And I love his content so much. I think he's brilliant and thoughtful and so empathetic to all sides on every issue. And I think the fact that you're going through this like struggle session nonsense to go like, even though he admitted it was mass murder, and even though he's documented in his long form podcast, how, like, what type of Holocaust denier puts out a long form fucking content about a baby being thrown into a ravine and the mother diving in after her and all of these Jews, and then calls the whole thing mass murder? Like it's like, Alex, if you could get like the woke liberal, like shake it out of your ears and actually listen to what he was saying. The whole point of what he was saying on Tucker Carlson's show was not denying the Holocaust. It was the polar opposite of that. He was saying it's all mass murder. It doesn't even matter how they died, and any defense that you have doesn't matter. He was actually making a point about hunger blockades and starvation as a weapon in war, and he was making a point about the Israel-Palestine war. But his whole point was basically going, even the people who try to say that, no, the Nazis didn't really mean to kill the Jews, they just died of typhus or starvation or whatever, he goes, it doesn't matter. That's still mass murder. It's the opposite of denying the Holocaust. Anyway, listen, I'm done. If you want to talk to Daryl Cooper, you can talk to him. I think he's fucking great. I think this whole struggle session is ridiculous. Can we like move on to anything that I actually believe or Alex actually believes? You want to talk about, you want to defend Israel, or are you trying to get off this sunken ship now? You trying to get off this ship, this genocidal ship as it's going down?
Okay, Alex, first, do you want to respond to any of that about Daryl Cooper?
No, I think we've
Enough.
I think we've exhausted. I mean, and I'm sort of sorry because I think we were maybe getting to a little better place and then we went back. But I am sorry that. I mean, I think there is a difference between what you said tonight and what you said on Rogan's show. And I think there's a difference between how you are willing to discuss this and how Daryl is.
What's the difference between what I said tonight and what I said on Rogan's show?
Because
Please be very specific.
Because on Rogan's show, you said that Daryl hadn't downplayed Nazi atrocities. And tonight, you're willing to say yes to a question that Daryl is not willing to answer.
Wait, hold on. But that's not a contradiction. So I said I want to really, really drill down on this. So you're saying there's a contradiction between me saying on Rogan's show that Daryl wasn't playing the atrocity of the Nazis and me today telling you that the Holocaust happened. What's the contradiction there?
No, it's not that. Okay. You will say something that Daryl, at least to me, at least this week, will not say.
Yeah, but that's not a contradiction. Me saying something that Daryl won't say, it does not mean that me saying
the fact that Daryl.
Hold on, Alex.
Wait,
I'm
no,
sorry.
no. Let me finish, and then I will.
No. I'm trying to drill down real hard on this.
Yeah, and I will.
Saying Daryl. I asked excuse me. No, Alex. I asked a very specific question. I said, "What's the contradiction?" And you said the contradiction is you saying Daryl Cooper didn't downplay Nazi atrocities, and then you today saying something Daryl Cooper won't say. That's not a contradiction. What's the contradiction between me saying Daryl didn't downplay the atrocities of the Nazis and what I'm saying today? Please tell me.
Daryl Cooper, the question that he will not answer is the question at the heart of what the Holocaust is. You answered it tonight. You are contradicting.
That's not the question, Alex. What is the contradiction between me saying Daryl Cooper didn't downplay the atrocities of the Nazis and me agreeing that the Nazis committed atrocities today? What's the contradiction?
Let me ask it a different way. Okay.
No, just tell me the answer to that question.
And maybe we'll go. This will just prove to me that I'm wrong. Do you think that in not answering that question, Daryl Cooper is denying the Holocaust?
No, of course not. But again, you're just finding a way. Look, Alex, it's very obvious, I think, to everyone watching here, you don't have an answer. You could just say, all right, maybe I misspoke, but you don't have an answer to this. And I'm asking it now for the third time. What is the contradiction between me on Joe Rogan's show saying Daryl Cooper did not downplay the atrocities of the Nazis and anything I've said today? Go ahead. What's the contradiction?
Okay. It seems to me, perhaps, that all right. You right now are willing to say something that Daryl won't say.
Alex, if you don't have an answer,
let
just
me
say
finish.
you don't have an answer.
Let me finish.
Let Alex finish.
I'm answering you in good faith, okay? You're saying something that Daryl won't say. When I say to you, okay, you're saying something that Daryl won't say or wouldn't say to me, do you think that that means that Daryl is downplaying the Holocaust? And I believe the difference in your two comments.
You're just asking a different question, man.
I
thought he had asked me a question. Sorry. Go ahead.
The difference between what you're willing to say and what Daryl isn't willing to say is the essence of Holocaust denial. Holocaust denial is not saying there was no Jews killed or there was 200,000 Jews killed. This is why Vad Yashem said this. This is why there's a commonly accepted definition of this. It's not an appeal to authority. It's just historical fact. And you tonight agreed with the historical fact. Daryl wouldn't agree. But now I'm asking you, do you see a contradiction between your willingness to agree and Daryl's unwillingness? And I guess you're saying no.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't ask me. You said there was a contradiction. So I'll ask now for a fourth time. And if you just can't answer it and you don't have an answer, that's fine. What is the contradiction between me saying, which I will say again tonight, that Daryl did not downplay the atrocities that the Nazis committed, and me saying anything I've said tonight? And that the answer to that can't be, you said something that Daryl didn't say. What's the contradiction between what is the contradiction between those two positions?
Answer. Dave, that's the answer.
So you have no contradiction.
You're willing to acknowledge
it's not a contradiction.
Yes, it is.
Alex, you're too smart to know this.
You are
you know what a contradiction means.
Yes.
That's not a contradiction.
Daryl is downplaying the atrocities, you are not. By denying that the Holocaust, or refusing to accept, because I haven't seen him deny it.
You changed your statement there.
No,
Where has
no,
Daryl
I've always
denied
said
anything?
No, refusing.
What has he denied?
Why are you lawyering for Daryl Cooper? That's the question.
Why can't you answer a simple
I have
question,
answered.
dude?
You keep cutting me off.
No, I'm not running cover for Daryl Cooper. I'm running cover for the truth against smear merchants.
No.
Why can't you answer a simple question,
Why,
Alex?
when every time I say the Holocaust Memorial Museum says Daryl Cooper was a Holocaust denier, did you say I'm appealing to authority? Sometimes,
Because you can just make the well, hold on, Alex. Listen, you asked me a question. I can answer that very quick. Because you can just make the argument. It's not an argument to say this body argues this. That is, by definition, an appeal to authority. That's what an appeal to authority means. If you listen, dude, if you can make the argument, then make the argument and stop saying this official body says this, because that's no different. Listen, hold on. You asked me a question. You're dodging my question. I'm answering your question in good faith. It's the same as if I said to you, how can you argue that the vaccine isn't efficient when the CDC says it is? That's the same thing as you saying the Holocaust Museum says that. So forget the CDC or the Holocaust Museum. We're two men here having a conversation. You claimed there's a contradiction between me saying Daryl didn't deny atrocities and what I said today. You're claiming that he denied something.
No.
What is the contradiction?
No. I've been Dave, I've been very clear on this throughout. It's not a question. Yes, I have. I misspoke for about half a second and you're jumping on me about it. I have not said Daryl denied. Daryl is refusing to acknowledge. He's refusing to say what the Holocaust was. You said it tonight. You say that there's no contradiction between your position and Daryl's, but you've acknowledged something that Daryl refused to acknowledge.
No. Okay, so here's the, okay, again, this is really getting like, I think, kind of desperate here. That's not what we were saying. You're changing the words.
Nope,
I didn't say there's no contradiction between my position and Daryl's, and I still don't think there is a contradiction. Hold on 1 second.
Wait, no. Do you think
No. Sorry, I'm gonna finish the sentence I was in the middle of. I didn't say there's no contradiction between me and Daryl's position, although I don't think there is, and we can get to that in a second. Your claim was that there's a contradiction between me saying he didn't downplay the atrocities of the Nazis and what I'm saying today. And what is that contradiction? Just admit you don't have one.
We really are going round and round in circles.
Just answer the question, man.
You acknowledge something that he won't acknowledge. That's the contradiction.
That's not what a contradiction is, dude. A contradiction is not that you acknowledge something someone else. A contradiction would be if I said Daryl didn't downplay the atrocities of the Nazis and he did downplay the, or then I said, hold on. A contradiction would be if I said on Rogan's show he didn't downplay the atrocities, and then I said on this show he did downplay the controversies. That would be a contradiction. Right? You don't have one. Just acknowledge. You're smarter than this, Alex. Just be honest. Okay. Be honest for 5 seconds. There's no contradiction.
We are not seeing this the same way.
Jesus Christ. All right. Go ahead, Rav.
And I think we've kind of talked it through as much as
I don't think it's that we're not seeing it the same way. I think it's that you're not being honest, dude. That's really what I think. But okay,
well, I felt that about you over this night a number of times. But, but I thought we were. I thought we were talking. I thought we were back to talking. I thought we were like.
Yeah, no. I'm back to talking. I just asked you you claimed something. I asked you 5 times in a row to just explain it.
And I feel like I've explained it as best.
You have nothing, and yet you're unwilling to just go. All right, I guess there's not a contradiction between you saying that.
I feel like I have explained this to you, and you are deliberately being obtuse.
Okay, so a contradiction was when someone says something, but then they say another thing that cancels out the first thing they said, or vice versa.
Right. So what did I say that canceled out the first thing?
Okay.
Yeah, you just don't have an answer, Alex. All right.
Okay, Alex, talk.
No, go ahead. All the time in the world, I won't talk.
But I'm going to say what I've said before, and it will be satisfactory to you, Rob, and to you, Dave, or it will not. When you acknowledge the truth of the Holocaust and the fact that it was genocidal and intentional, and Daryl Cooper won't do that, you are inherently saying that he is downplaying Nazi atrocities. Okay.
No,
that's how I see this. You don't see it.
Well,
We should move on because
I'm sure you want to move on right there, but of course, that saying that you will say this in a specific way. Again, what Daryl Cooper called what the Nazis did was his words to you after vividly describing it in a podcast that you listened to. His words were, "It's mass murder."
Right.
Now, I don't know what murder.
Mass murder is not the Holocaust. Great. You're smarter than
hold
this.
on.
You're smarter than this.
Okay.
Mass murder is not the Holocaust.
Okay. Anyway, let me finish. I don't know what murder means to you, but to me and the rest of civilization, it implies intention. So your whole thing about how he's denying intention is complete bullshit. Let's move on. Fine.
Okay. All right. Let's move on. We're not going to see. We're just not going to see eye to eye.
We've been going in circles quite a bit. So one thing in order to try and facilitate this conversation, what I've been doing is, I was just messaging with Daryl right now. Full disclosure, I'm not. Full disclosure, I'm not. Full
Leave
disclosure,
him alone, Rav.
Yeah, right.
He has something to say here. Full disclosure, I'm not friends with Daryl. I've never talked to him on the phone. We've just been texting since you guys had this Twitter spat. And I was hoping, Alex. So the question that you were asking him, Alex, the question you were asking Daryl, I sent it to Daryl a couple times, and I said, hey, I would love for you to respond to this. And he said one thing, first of all, that he's going to answer it at length in an upcoming podcast when he gets to that point in the story. I think he's doing a chronological thing.
Yeah.
So, by the way, if you're texting Daryl, you might want to ask him about the investigative piece that Mother Jones ran on him yesterday that suggests he's a very serious, let's say, white supremacist. So if we're going to bring Daryl into the conversation.
Yeah, let's before you even have anything to back it up with, let's just go with Mother Jones called someone a white supremacist. By the way,
it's a very specific set of allegations, Dave.
Well, there you go.
Daryl's not here. So
we don't have to back any of that up with any evidence. Just say it's very specific. It's just like Saddam Hussein's nuclear sites were very specific in Judith Miller's comment in her columns.
Why?
Okay.
Alex,
look, dude, Alex, do you think the lab leak theory is plausible? Because you're pretty racist if you think that too. So let's just. It's so sad to me, man. It's so sad to me to watch you just become exactly what. The whole machine that smeared you. But okay.
What's funny is it's so sad to
you got
me.
Nothing.
You're a smart guy. You question things, but you've fallen in with this really dangerous group of people. It's so upsetting to me.
Dude, you hung out with Judith Miller and Michael Gordon.
No, I never hung out with Judith Miller.
Okay, they were your colleagues, dude. You were a part of the publication that got 1 million people killed. Who are you to tell me I hang out with a bad group of people, dude? This is on the level of I don't know, Anthony Fauci saying that you talked to a guy who said ivermectin was the cure for everything. Screw you guys, man. You don't get to smear people. Make an argument.
I've been doing nothing.
You to make your goddamn argument. You got nothing.
I've been doing nothing but making arguments. And when I say
I
say to you, Candace Owens,
all right.
Is committing blood libel. You say, what's blood libel? We can play it for you if you want.
You think it's an argument to say Candace Owens is committing blood libel? That's an argument to you?
What is that?
Not a smear? That's a point?
If we play her words.
I don't know. Again, I'm not debating any. You know what? I'm done debating any other people or anyone else that I had a podcast with.
You're not this stupid.
No, I'm not at all. I'm smart enough to be doing yes, I know. That's why I'm doing quite well in this, Alex.
Very well what Candace gets up to.
Look, Alex, just
you're smarter than
I'm not saying. Listen, I'm not trying to make it a fallacy myself here. I'm not appealing to popularity, but it's just Alex, dude, just look at what the reaction of this debate is going to be, man, and just read the room for a second. No one is buying this. You got it. Enough about other people, enough about who my associations are. Your associations are far worse than mine. How about we move on now to actual arguments?
You are afraid to talk about the people you talk to and what.
No, I'm not.
You are Jew washing.
This is so lame, dude. I'm not afraid. I want to move.
This is the essence of why we're here. It's the essence of why I said.
No, the essence of why we're here is because you pinned to your Twitter that I don't believe in the Holocaust, and you couldn't defend that, and you failed on that. Now,
even if you don't like,
so
you
instead
don't
of
like hearing what I have to say.
We got to go one at a time. Okay, guys.
Right. It's too much over each other.
It's getting too much chaos.
All I was saying, I'll be done in a quick second, is it's not me being scared. It's me saying, can we just be men here and move on to debating something that matters? And a position I have versus a position you have. Do you want to keep defending Israel through all this shit? Are you trying to jump off the sinking ship now that the genocide is so obvious? Do you want to stop denying and supporting it? Like, okay, do you have a problem with any of that? Like, can you take on any argument that I've made? Enough of like, you're saying this guy didn't deny the Holocaust, who clearly didn't, but you claim he did. Okay, what else we got here?
Okay. You've said publicly, okay, here's an argument for you, Dave. You've said publicly that Israel is an enemy of the United States. I don't believe Israel is an enemy of the United States. Do you believe Israel is an enemy of the United States?
Okay, guys.
Wait. I just asked a question.
Yeah, no.
You wanted us to move to a specific
Yeah. We can do that. I was finishing a point earlier about Daryl, and Candace came up and all this stuff. I was going to finish my thing about. So I was messaging Daryl, and again, full disclosure, no affiliation with Daryl. I'm not friends with Daryl. I don't really know Daryl that well. I've seen him in a couple of podcasts. But Alex, I sent your tweet to Daryl a couple of times. He says he's going to do a podcast.
Okay.
And then as we were just debating right now, you and Dave were, Daryl sent a long response, and he said, say all of this or say none of it. He doesn't want me to just select, so he just sent something.
All right, fair enough.
Okay. And so he said,
okay,
knowing nothing about you except your work on COVID. He's addressing this to you, Alex.
Yes.
Knowing nothing about you except your work on COVID, I tried to engage you in good faith, but you blew me off and continued to be insulting and sarcastic. I would have been glad to answer any questions you had for as long as you wanted if you'd approach me like an adult male, but you didn't, and I don't engage with people who behave like that. In the future, you should try talking to people with some level of basic decency and respect. I'm sure you demand of others for yourself. I don't hold grudges, and I know you've been going through a difficult stretch in your life, so I wish you well and hope you find a better use for your time than picking random fights with strangers you know nothing about.
Okay. So I would urge anybody who thinks that any part of that is true to just go back and look at my back and forth with Daryl Cooper over the last couple of days.
All right.
Hold on. May I finish?
Sorry, go ahead.
Because, well, I was obnoxious to you, Dave. There's no question about that. But Daryl, I asked a simple question, and he said to me, hey, watch my clip, and I'll answer your question. And I did. I watched this clip, and it didn't answer the question. So I said, hey, you didn't answer my question. And he stopped talking to me. And people can judge that for themselves. I urge you to go look on Twitter. Now, Dave, and it's already 8:30. I can't believe it. We've been doing this for a long time, and we've really talked about nothing except the Holocaust. I mean, so if you want to talk about Israel and try to find places where we actually agree, places we might disagree, I'm okay doing that. And I said to you, you've said publicly that you view Israel as this is your quote, an enemy of the United States, I guess because of Israel's, in your view, luring the United States into Middle Eastern conflicts. And I think you said something like sending, American boys or Americans to fight for Israel or fight in Middle Eastern conflicts. And I guess I'd ask you, do you view Israel as an enemy of the United States? I don't view Israel as an enemy.
Okay, so let me just, we'll get right into Israel stuff, but I just got to say real quick that Daryl's absolutely right in his message that he sent there. And for Alex to even pretend like, I think it's cool that you, at least at some point in this debate, admitted like, okay, yeah, if you hadn't come at me like that, this probably would have been a different conversation. But you also got to acknowledge, dude, like me and Daryl are friends, and you're coming at me, accusing me of being a Holocaust denier. And then the only thing you have to back it up is that I'm a Holocaust denier because I said he wasn't a Holocaust denier. And then for you to go like, oh, look at the tweet thread, it was totally like an honest question. Like, come on, dude, you weren't having an honest conversation. In the same way that if I started a conversation with someone else, let's say someone like you, Rav, let's say it was Rav, who was someone who was defending Alex Berenson through COVID, and then I went, I went, hey, Rav, you're a fucking racist. And Rav goes, what do you mean I'm a racist? And I go, you're a racist because you defend Alex Berenson, who's talking about the lab leak theory, and that's racist. And then off of that conversation, I go, hey, Alex, do you condemn racism, blah, blah, blah. This isn't a good faith conversation anymore. And let me tell you something, as someone who knows Daryl Cooper very well, and as somebody, like, as I said about myself, Alex, this could have gone a totally different way. We could have had like a really productive and honest conversation about this, but Daryl's right and you're wrong. And that's my official position on all of that stuff. Anyway, moving on. I don't know, like you're quoting me saying Israel's an enemy. What did I say exactly?
I think it was,
like
I think it was at a Young Libertarians conference. You said, Bibi Netanyahu.
Oh, I remember
Yes.
what I said now. What I said is that I was talking to the audience of what was once Students for Ron Paul after his presidential campaign that got turned into Young Americans for Liberty, a great organization who I just love to death. But as a Ron Paulian libertarian, but what I said to them was anyone who's advocating for a regime change war in Iran is your enemy. And if that's Benjamin Netanyahu, then he's your enemy too. So if that's, again, I wasn't saying this in a sense of like they're an official government declaration of they're an enemy. I don't want to be enemies with anybody. I think we should trade with nations and have good relations with nations. I don't believe in sanctions against Israel or Iran or Gaza or anything like that. I'm George Washington foreign policy. I think we should be a city on a hill and be friends with everyone and stay out of entangling alliances. So is Israel an enemy? I mean, it depends what you mean by the term. Like, has Israel, very more specifically, has Benjamin Netanyahu and the Likud party been joined at the hip with the neoconservatives who your old correspondents helped sell the war in Iraq for? Yeah. And I think all of those people have been like, I just can't even overstate what a catastrophe all of their influence has been for the United States of America. So yeah, I stand by that, but I don't know exactly what you mean by is Israel an enemy?
Well, okay.
I mean, do you disagree with anything I said there, or fight with me?
I actually don't disagree very much with what you said there.
No, there you go. All right. So when it actually comes down to my views, yeah, what can you say about that? I mean, look, dude, I know I'm giving you a hard time, and it's really only, honestly, again, it's just because you came out doing what I consider to be really low down, kind of scummy tactics, whether it's pinning the tweet, calling me a Holocaust denier, or even opening this debate with the Richard Spencer quote, clip. I just find that to be really like beneath you. But the reason I'm only giving you,
that's something you did though. I mean,
yeah,
I know
no,
we can agree it was a joke. Okay.
Yes. No, it's something I did, and working with Judith Miller and Michael Gordon is something you
did.
No.
I never made Holocaust jokes to Judith Miller. I never even spoke to those guys.
No. I'm so sorry, Alex. I wasn't suggesting you made a joke to Judith Miller. I'm suggesting that Judith Miller, literally, I don't know, Rob, you're young for this. I don't know if people can appreciate how important the New York Times was in 2002 and 2003, and how they ran front page stories about Saddam Hussein's nuclear secret sites and how full of shit they were. Go watch, if nobody's watched, by the way, someone whose politics I really disagree with, Jon Stewart, just eviscerating Judith Miller. Man, when that's one of the most beautiful things. It's how you guys
think I want to defend Judith Miller?
No, that's the point. Of course, you can't possibly. How would you? Her source was Chalabi. How would you possibly defend Judith Miller? No one can defend Judith Miller. Even Judith Miller can't defend Judith Miller. The New York Times had to The New York Times had to apologize for Judith Miller, like officially. My point is that when you worked for an organization that led the country into a war that slaughtered 1 million people, and you didn't resign and you didn't speak up about it, you don't really get to accuse other people of having problematic associations.
You're giving.
That's my point.
Dave, you're giving the New York Times much too much credit.
No. You're wrong. Nah, dude, you're wrong. Try to downplay it all you want to, but for for people in the internet age now that none of that shit matters at all, people may not remember. But the New York Times absolutely led the news cycle, man. And back then there wasn't really internet news and podcasts and all this stuff like there is now. And when the New York Times put on their front page that the US has good information that Saddam is building secret nuclear sites, that filtered through Reuters and the Associated Press and NBC and ABC and CBS and all the cable networks. I mean, Alex, you're crazy to downplay the effect that the New York Times had by literally, dude, I mean, it's the most criminal thing that ever happened. They took the neocons guy, the Iranian spy who tricked all of the Israeli spies into, you know this shit, Alex. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong about one thing I'm saying. You know you can't. They published that front page on the New York Times like it was fact. The New York Times itself had to apologize for doing such bullshit propaganda. So don't tell me about my associations from the past, man. Come on, dude.
Hold on. I've let you talk.
If I was ever a part of that organization, I don't feel guilty for a second about making a joke to Richard Spencer. But if I spent a day in the offices that you inhabited for 10 years, I'd still be taking a shower over that.
This is
not like a Holocaust joke. I just meant like a shower with soap. All right, I got Alex on that. Alex likes Holocaust jokes now. Now they're okay.
There you go. How did we get here?
That was the moment I broke Alex Berenson, everybody. It was right there. The shower joke is what got him.
I mean, what's funny is you don't want me to ask you very specific questions about very specific things that people you've had long form interviews with have said, and you've never,
No, I'm happy. Ask me the questions.
Wait. When I've tried, you said, "Hey, let's debate like men." I don't want to hear about Candace, or I don't want to hear about,
well, Alex, I mean, look, dude, the way you've come at me has been kind of crazy in this, but if you want to ask me a question, ask me a question. I'm happy to answer that.
I mean, I said to you, I'll play. I mean, we can play it if you want, the clip from Candace. And then you said that you didn't believe Candace was anti-Semitic. It's a crazy thing that you said that. I mean, I don't know would Candace have to I don't know, shoot a Jew in the back of the head for you to consider anti-Semitic? She's saying stuff that's blood libel.
Again, I'm sorry to ask for a what does blood libel mean?
Well, actually, I mean, this is something I can help you with specifically. Blood libel is the charge that Jews, I guess mostly in the Middle Ages, but in some cases continuing, killed Christian children and used their blood in religious ceremonies. That's a real thing, Dave. Blood libel is a real thing. I think you're pretending not to know this. You must know this.
No. It's not that I'm not pretending like I don't know. Obviously, I've heard the term before. I've been accused of using it a bunch. I just I don't. So blood libel specifically means a claim that Israel used the blood of Jews used the blood of Christians. I don't know what you mean.
Yeah, I mean, and if we play the clip, you'll see that Candace says, she says that, Jew, Christian, she says actually interestingly, Christian and Catholic children were disappearing in the Middle Ages, and that the Franks were hiding behind Jews, and Leo Frank, Leo Frank, who is Jewish, you know who Leo Frank is, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. There's this insane theory that he actually killed that girl, and she mentions him. Okay. It is she actually uses the term blood libel when she's speaking. So, I mean, and she said a lot of crazy stuff. I just don't know how you can say with a straight face that Candace hasn't said anti-Semitic things.
Well, I mean, look, I guess it just kind of gets into what exactly you mean when you say she said anti-Semitic things. Look, here's my honest opinion about all of this stuff, right? Is that I think that there's as I said to you before, and I guess we've all kind of agreed. Look, I think it's I don't even know what Holocaust denial is. I really don't. I don't even know what people are talking about. I don't even know. I don't know, Alec. Have you ever read David Irving's books? I've never read.
I have not. But
no, me neither.
He's a Holocaust denier,
so fair.
Right?
Okay, so. Literally, I've never read a single one of David Irving's books. I don't know anything about him, and you don't either. And we both, I think, kind of know.
Go on. Sorry.
I think at least what I know of him is that he is the poster boy for he's the David Duke of historians. He's the poster boy for the historian who denied the Holocaust. Now, I've never read any of his books. I don't even know. But I saw this one clip of an interview with him where he was basically saying that, well, look, obviously there were gas chambers at Auschwitz, and obviously there were gas chambers at these other death camps, and that millions of Jews were killed. And then he says in the clip that he had it at, this has been a little while since I saw this, so like double check me because I'm not trying to, but it was close to this, that he had it at over 2 million Jews had been killed by late 1941. So like it's not even 1942 yet, and his count is already at 2 million, and Hitler's still got 3 good years of genocide left in him. Right. And then his argument was, which I did find to be very ridiculous, his argument was that Hitler didn't really know, and that no order had been given, and that it was kind of like on the lower level. And the evidence he had for this was, again, I'm just judging off one like little interview clip that he said, but basically like there was a correspondence that he had found from an SS guard back to Himmler, right, who had admitted in the thing that over 2 million Jews have already been taken care of, and then Himmler says, take that last line out before you send it to the Fuhrer. And so then he was trying to say, look, this is evidence that Hitler wasn't really in on the plan. But to me, looking at that, I was like, no, that's just evidence that they were trying to do what we in America call plausible deniability, that he was just trying to be like, hey, don't put this in writing back to Hitler. But again, what are we even talking about here? Even if the claim that Hitler didn't know, which I don't buy, is true, he's still guilty as sin. It doesn't matter. Those are still his men and his regime. And so, look, I think it's goofy for anyone to deny that there were millions and millions of Jews who were killed in the most horrific way when Hitler went genocidal in World War II. Also, World War II is the biggest bloodbath in fucking human history, man. And it's just like, God damn it. Even in Ukraine, as we were talking about earlier, the worst or up there with the worst of the Holocaust, certainly at the very beginning, the worst of it. This is like 10 years after the Holodomor. I mean, people were starving to death there. You have the commies, you have the Nazis taking over and occupying. And I do think it's a little bit of a weird thing, especially today, for Jewish people to be sitting here being like, you have to remember and focus and say exactly in the way I want you to say about how our people died, even though it's in the middle of this pool of tens of millions of people dying in horrific ways. And even though right now the issue at hand is actually the Palestinian babies starving to death at the hands of Israel, like I just don't, I think this is a weird thing, and I think it's really bad. Like, I don't think it's something that Jewish people should be doing. I don't think it's something anyone should be doing. Daryl's not denying the Holocaust. I'm not denying the Holocaust. It was horrible what happened. I think most of the people who you're talking, like, I don't even know who are the, like I said, I don't even think David Irving's denying the part that I was just talking about. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong and I missed something. I haven't read his books, like I said. But it's like, what are we talking about, man?
Okay,
There's a real genocide going on right now.
Dave, you just talked for a long time, right?
Sure. You're right. Go ahead.
So that, it is interesting to me to hear you say this because, again, I know you're a smart guy. Okay, you are. And I don't think it's deliberate. You said you don't really know what Holocaust denial is. You seem to have a very narrow, I can't believe we're still talking about this, but you seem to have a very narrow definition that if somebody doesn't say, if somebody says, a couple 100,000 Jews, that's denying the Holocaust. Or somebody says there were no gas chambers, that's denying the Holocaust. We can agree, right? That's denying the Holocaust, right? But there is a difference between, and it's not just language. There's a difference between war crimes and collective punishment and genocide, and even genocide and a Holocaust. Okay, and I'm not saying that there can't be a Holocaust other than the one we saw in Europe. Okay, in Nazi-occupied Eastern Europe and some in Western Europe in 1941 to 1945. I'm not saying that like, oh, the Jews are the only ones who could ever have a Holocaust happen to them. If some crazy Israeli, if one of those true right-wing nut jobs somehow, runs Israel and they drop hydrogen bombs on Gaza, that would be a Holocaust. It would. It's not what's happening right now. What's happening right now, to my mind, is the Israelis have moved out of an active war stage into an occupation stage and are not acting properly as an occupying power and are getting rightly, torn apart for that. That doesn't, but that doesn't make it genocide. Language actually really matters here, Dave.
It
really does.
Okay. I get your point.
So this is not me defending. It's not me defending Israel in any way. I'm not Douglas Murray. I don't want to defend the actions that I'm seeing right now. I'm not defending them. It's like I'm not defending Judy Miller. But I think this is a big difference between me and you tonight, is that I will, and maybe this is, what you're saying people don't like about me. Like I really call it like I see it. And, Daryl Cooper's no friend of mine, but if he were a friend of mine and I thought, dude, you need to acknowledge the intentionality in the genocide here, or you're actually a Holocaust denier, I would say it to him, even as a friend. And Tucker is a friend of mine, I think, and he was my career the last 5 years would be completely different without Tucker. It would. I consider him a personal friend, truly. But what he did with Daryl, I don't like it. And I'm willing to say that out loud. And even if it pisses him off, and it means that he'll never have me on again. I'd love to go back on. Joe, same thing. I'd love to go back on. But, if those guys don't want to have me back on, what matters to me more is telling the truth.
Okay. That's listen, I really appreciate you saying that. And I think that, and I'm trying to be really genuine when I say this. I think that if your response was, hey, I really don't like what Tucker did with Daryl Cooper, I think there'd be no issue with you going back on. And in fact, I think Tucker and Joe Rogan, honestly, from knowing them both pretty well, would be kind of interested in that conversation. I want to get you, Alex, like is you kind of earlier in the show, and we were being a little bit hostile at the time, but you tried to get me to be like, hey, really think about this. Let me just try to get you to really think about something here. You were like calling essentially Daryl Cooper a Holocaust denier. Not essentially, you're calling him a Holocaust denier because he wouldn't say it in the way that you felt was right, which is the most. No, hold on. Let me just finish my point, and then you can correct where I'm wrong. But you were like, no, it was this. It was the systemic, intentional destruction and elimination of all Jewish people. Like that's what that was. But then, when we're talking about what Israel's doing in Gaza, you can put it in the language that you feel more comfortable. You can go, look, they had a right to respond. They're now an occupying force who's gone a little bit too far. As an occupying force, they have a responsibility for that. Listen, man, Israel has been an occupying force in Gaza since 1967. And if you want to go through any of the, if you want to go through the bullshit of the disengagement in 2005, we could talk all about that. They've occupied the Strip the entire time. Israel has been the sovereign of Gaza since 1967. They also propped up Hamas intentionally so that they would never have to make a deal with the Palestinians. And let me finish. And then when that group committed a terrorist attack, they used that as an excuse to just slaughter the people. Listen, there was as everybody here listening knows quite well, there was a case by South Africa that was brought to the International Court of Justice in December of 2023, alleging a genocide. And the International Court of Justice, by the way, I'm no fan of global governance or the UN or any of that, but they ruled it was plausible and then kind of kicked the can.
Are we appealing to authority here?
No. Let me finish my point. As I just said, here's the difference between me and you. I'm not saying they said it, therefore it's right. I'm saying they said it, then I'm noting I don't really even agree with them existing at all. But I will make the point that in South Africa's case, they had all types of quotes. Some of them, by the way, taken out of context and a little bit misleading. Some of them not at all. And they had all types of arguments about why this is genocidal in intent. We are now 19, I apologize if I'm bad.
21 months.
21 months. I'm not good with math. 21 months later. No, I think actually I'm right, because I'm not talking about the beginning of the war. I'm talking about since the ICJ case. But either way, we're on the same page. We're 19 months later. And the IDF are shooting at desperate people trying to get food. Admitted on the record, IDF soldiers, people are starving to death after a 3-month total blockade of all aid going in. So, like, again, all I'm saying is that maybe, Alex, something you could consider is that when you're talking about a genocide that happened in the 1940s, that was to your group and my group, you demand that people describe it for what it was. But when it's happening right now, today, you sit there and go, yes, is Israel overreacting? Are they an occupying force? Well, I suppose they were right at the beginning, like when they were slaughtering these babies at the beginning, that was kind of okay, but I think they've taken it too far. I just see like I see a real contradiction here in the empathy that you demand from other people for your group versus what's actually going on right now. And I will tell you this, and this is the truth. I think that 90%, give or take, of the Holocaust denial that you see on Twitter today, or that you see people flirting with, not Daryl Cooper or Candace Owens, I'm talking about people who really deny the Holocaust. 90% of that is that they just resent that. They resent the idea that we have to forever always like pay homage and respect to your group suffering, and yet we're not allowed to just have a real conversation about what's going on today.
Okay, so I listened and I hear you. I don't think you heard me at all earlier. I'm like, as I said to you, I don't know, this is now 2 hours in. At some point, I've had to think about the Holocaust more in the last 5 days than the last 10 years. I'm not demanding empathy for anything. Like, this is something that happened. It happened, as you said, 80 years ago. Let's just acknowledge what it was and try to make sure it doesn't ever happen again.
It's happening right now is the point.
But it's not happening now. There's not.
Yeah, it kind of is.
Okay. I understand, and I've read, the Times piece, yesterday or the day before, by an Israeli and a couple of Arabs saying that they believe there's a Holocaust genocide happening right now. And I know, I know what you're saying. I've seen the pictures. Okay, again, language really does matter, and you don't seem to think it matters. Israel can be doing terrible things that perhaps one day they will be held accountable for, and not committing a genocide or a Holocaust. Okay, war crimes happen in war. Israel was attacked horrendously on October 7th, and almost immediately you said, "Oh, well, we need to sort of put October 7th in context." I don't think there's a context to. There's a context, but I don't think there's any excuse or any justification for an attack on civilians and, people dancing at a rave. Okay. And I believe, and we disagree about this, that Israel had the right to invade Gaza, which it had not occupied. Okay. It had not occupied Gaza. If it had occupied Gaza, this presumably wouldn't have happened. What I would have liked to have seen, and what I would still like to see, is Rob gone?
Did I go out? Am I still here?
You're still here.
Okay, there you go.
It
just went out for a second.
We've switched places. What I would have liked to see is Israel destroy Hamas, occupy Gaza, and return sovereignty to Gazans and hopefully get a solution that's a permanent peace. Okay, I think that's where Israel should have gone and what they should have tried to do. To my mind, they haven't done that, and so I'm not going to defend their behavior recently, but I will defend a war, and a war can cause civilian casualties, Dave. It does. Wars cause civilian casualties. No, it's not. It happens. It's an unfortunate and tragic part of war. But the alternative Israel had on October 7th or October 8th was to allow more attacks on its civilian population. Would you agree that that's not something that they could have done?
I mean, look, dude, again, like I said before, Israel has, if you want to say they weren't occupying them before October 7th, like, okay, fine. You're right. They were just controlling the airspace, the sea space, the electricity, the water, the fishing rights, who could come in, who could go out, and a full blockade around the country. That's all they had, not an occupation or anything like that. And from 1967 to 2005. So yes, I do think that like the standard is a little bit different. If there's it's a little bit different if, say, you have Mexico and the United States, two governments, living side by side, and one attacks the other one. It's a little bit different to say, like, let's say in 1780, we put all of the Native Americans on an Indian reservation, but didn't let them leave and didn't let them trade with the world and didn't let them fish off their own coast and kept them in there. And then, say, in 1850, they launched an attack. That's a little bit different than like a neighboring government just launching an attack. And then specifically keep in mind that it was Netanyahu's strategy to prop up and keep Hamas in power just so you would never have to free those Native Americans and you would never have to give them their own state. That once you do that, if there's an attack against you, no, I don't think that justifies leveling 80% of Gaza, bringing the entire thing down to the ground, and then moving into your plans to ethnically cleanse the entire strip, which is what we're seeing right now. And I'm sure the New York Times will find a way to, cover and run cover for, I know they're not allowed to say the occupied territories or something like that. We'll see what happens. I mean, I know everybody now, I think, is trying to get off this sinking ship because there's just no backing out of it. But I think you're kind of missing my bigger point, which is just that, like, even you could say, I haven't thought about the Holocaust as much as I have in the last few days today. But look, man, what's the way you're coming at me and the way you're coming at Daryl wasn't for a conversation. It's to accuse us of not appreciating the Holocaust as much as we should. Meanwhile, you're like, in my case, you're talking to somebody whose like family went through it. I mean, I just think it's like a kind of crazy, gross thing to say. And it's so tone deaf. I just find it like so tone deaf to be like, in 2025, talking about how that's the thing, like the people who are standing up against what's happening to these poor Palestinians is you're saying, yeah, but you didn't, even though you admitted the Holocaust happened, you didn't admit it in the exact right way.
No.
Anyway,
no,
I do have to run here like pretty soon. So let's.
All right. No. I mean, okay. I mean, I think we've said our pieces, right? I obviously haven't convinced you of anything. You haven't convinced me. Well, what I would like to say is when you say things like, Netanyahu did this and, or Judy Miller pushed that, you don't hear me saying to you, that's not true. Like when you say stuff that's true, I'm almost looking for ways to like agree with you. But you're not going to be able to sort of browbeat me into agreeing with you on stuff that isn't true. And sure. You may feel the same in reverse, but I don't think that you haven't been willing to admit the simplest thing for about Candace Owens.
I'd admit.
Perhaps
anything that I think is true.
Let me just say one thing.
Sure.
Perhaps you are, you're a better friend than I am. Perhaps perhaps you just these people, know them, you like them. You will not acknowledge difficult realities is what it seems like to me.
Well, I mean, I'm I don't know. I'm happy to acknowledge a difficult reality. I just don't think no, I'm not going to acknowledge that Daryl Cooper's a Holocaust denier when I don't think he is. But if you were to ask me, if you were to say, hey, you talk to Richard Spencer or Christopher Cantwell or whoever, do you think that they're racist or anti-Semitic? I'd be like, yeah, obviously. Yeah. Yeah, I was talking to a self-described racist at the time. So, I think I'll acknowledge what I think is fair and acknowledge what isn't. And at the end of the day, yes, Alex, obviously I haven't convinced you and you haven't convinced me, but that's never the point of these things. The point is to move the audience and to see who has a more compelling argument to them. I think, this was an interesting one. It was a bit of a shit show for a while, but we'll let the audience decide what they think about it.
I knew going in what the audience would say. So anyway, I hope
so did I.
Yeah, listen, guys, this was pretty slimy at the start. I think it got better in the last 45 minutes, but at the very least, I think, Alex, you don't think Dave's a Holocaust denier, and I think Dave understands you don't think that. Alex, you seem to have much more issue with Daryl Cooper, who's not in this debate, which is so that's that's a separate discussion.
I would also say I don't think that making jokes about Holocaust denial to Richard Spencer is the best move, but it happened.
You can't make jokes about Holocaust denial on a podcast, only on Twitter. You can only pin it to your Twitter and then let everybody know. That's cool.
I gotta say,
jokes on the podcast aren't okay. All right, guys, I'm gonna run on that one.
I really didn't understand that the New York Times thing, it means something to you, huh? I mean, that I worked there. It's strange to me. It's so long.
No. It's just it people pinning to their Twitter with 500,000 followers who worked for the newspaper of record saying you're a Holocaust denier. Yeah, I think you should have to back that up, and I don't think you could. But anyway, we're all done here. Thank you guys very much. I got another podcast to go record. Have a good night, guys.
Good night. Good night, all.
All right. Okay.